Childminding Ireland is the National Childminding Body here in Ireland. I am delighted to be speaking to Head of Childminding Services at Childminding Ireland, Mariead Hurley, here on Community Radio Kilkenny City. So welcome, Mariead, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Anne. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So maybe first of all, tell me a little bit about your background in childminding and how you came to be the Head of Childminding Services at Childminding Ireland.
Okay, I suppose like most people, I have a mixed background. I started out working life as a credit controller and went on then to study childcare when I had my own children and set up my own preschool and became a childminder. And various different, did that for a period of years, and then a couple of different opportunities came up then in administration, and I was able to, use my love of working with children then in a different way. So that's how I got to where I am.
And tell me a little bit as well about Childminding Ireland. What is Childminding Ireland for the listeners?
Okay, so we're very grateful that you're giving us this opportunity to highlight childminding and the supports that we offer. So Childminding Ireland, as you said, is the national body for childminding. Our sole purpose and focus is to support and promote quality childminding throughout Ireland. We want to see an Ireland in which childminding flourishes, resulting in unique benefits for children, families and their communities.
Okay, so it's a broad and overall organisation like that. You offer so much support and so much help for people who have decided to childmind, be it for family reasons, financial reasons, or whatever reason. You're there to support them.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I could just talk to you before I talk about the supports that we offer, there are two important issues that I'd like to talk to you about.
Sure.
The first is to explain the current position for childminders in relation to COVID-19 restrictions, and the second is to tell you about the upcoming action plan.
Absolutely. So
in relation to the COVID-19 restrictions, while we all understand the importance of providing childcare for essential workers, the reality is that childminders are self-employed. They're providing childcare in their family home. This makes every childminding setting different. Childminders are allowed to remain open should they wish to do so, but only for the care of vulnerable children and those of essential workers. Childminders may also choose not to open, depending on their personal circumstances and, any health risks that are within their own household. So secondly, the upcoming action plan. Your listeners may or may not be aware that there is a childminding action plan being developed by government. The aim of this action plan is to improve access for parents to subsidies for their childcare costs. In order to do this, the government must first create a quality assurance system for childminding. A little bit of the context. The vast majority of childminders in this country are outside of any system of supports. There is no requirement for them to register. Currently, the estimated numbers of childminders vary between 15,000 and 35,000, but there are less than 80 childminders registered with TUSLA. So this action plan will bring significant changes for childminding in Ireland. It is due to be released within the coming months, and we would love to come back to talk to you at that stage, Anne, once it has been published.
Absolutely. We would love to have you back because I feel that this action plan will be of great benefit to people who are childminding in Ireland, and absolutely we would love to have you back, and the listeners would get a great benefit from having you back and having you tell us all about the action plan. But in the meantime, what supports do you offer then for childminders in Ireland?
So our message is, if you're a childminder or a parent using a childminding service, we are here to support you. We offer free support to all childminders. Some of these supports include a childminding helpline. This is available Monday to Friday, office hours, and also an evening out-of-hours helpline that we deliver twice a week, Wednesdays and Thursday nights. We can advise you around starting up as a childminder. So if you're just thinking about it, we're here to support you in that. If you're already childminding, we can talk you through any issues you might be having as a childminder. And all of your queries will be answered by experienced childminders. The other ways we support are we facilitate childminding specific training, including first aid for childminders, child protection training for childminders. And then in normal times, we run local networks. So these are opportunities where you can meet other childminders in your area. Another way that we support childminders is by offering a membership. Childminders can become members of Childminding Ireland. And when you become a member, you have access to discounted childminding insurance, a members-only Facebook forum, and other business supports. The membership criteria that we support our members to work towards include childminding insurance, Garda vetting, paediatric first aid, child safeguarding training, and also signing up to a code of ethics and a safety declaration. So how do we support parents? We offer parents throughout Ireland support with their childminding needs, giving general childminding advice such as how to recognise quality in a childminding setting. For example, obviously in normal times, we would recommend that you visit a childminding home, perhaps initially without your child. This might make it easier to focus on questions you'd like to ask. Remembering every family is different and equally every childminding setting is different. It really is about getting the best match for your family needs. Ask yourself, does the childminding home reflect your priorities as a parent? For example, if you were a family that loves being outdoors, is there an outdoor space or a nearby park that the children could visit? Or if you're a family that love to read, you would like to see lots of children's books in the childminding home. Questions you could ask the childminder are around, are they Garda vetted? Do they have childminding insurance? Have they first aid training, child protection training? Then, other ways that we support parents is if they're looking for a childminder, they can check out our website directory. This lists our members county by county who may currently have vacancies.
Yeah, and you mentioned there, Mariead, the network in your area. That alone would be a great support for people who are involved in childminding, that they can maybe meet up, be it in person when things get back to normal, but at the moment maybe over Zoom or over one of these apps where they can give support and tips, because one person might have experienced one issue.
Absolutely.
And another person might be experiencing something completely different. So they can, interact and they can give advice and give support of one another.
Yeah, peer support is really important because childminding can be quite isolating. You mightn't see an adult from one from morning till evening. So it is great to have peer support and to be able to talk through any issues that you have. And, bear in mind as well, once you phone in, you're going to be speaking to a former childminder as well. So that's another type of support, but definitely local support, where it's relative to your area. We feel it's really important, and it's something that we're hoping will develop and will also be a part of, the Childminding Action Plan that's coming.
And you mentioned as well in relation to visiting the home, and you need to check out where your child is going to be minded on a day-to-day basis, because when you go out to work, you need to know that you're leaving your child in a safe environment, that your child is going to be stimulated in every way possible. But also children going to school, coming from school, I know at the moment with schools all, out because of COVID, but when schools are in operation, what is the criteria in relation to dropping and collecting children in cars? Do the childminder have to have full driving licence? Are they authorised to walk to school? What way does that work, Mariead?
It depends. Every situation is different, and as I say, every family's needs is different, and what will work for one family won't work for another. Typically, childminders, they'll have under their own car insurance, they will have, they will be covered in that way. They should be covered in that way if they're bringing children in their car. So every situation is different and every need is different. And for some childminders that mightn't work. Some childminders it suits them better to mind younger children. Some childminders mind only after school children. They may be in the town where the children come to them, or they may organise, but it's part of a childminding agreement that they have with the parents. And it's another thing that we would advise around is that childminders and parents, put it in writing what their agreement is. What is it that each expect of each other? Because quite often this is where the relationship breaks down in the absence of this.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that. That was my next question in relation to signing a contract. When you pick a childminder and the childminder that suits your needs and your family needs, do you sign a contract then to maybe put it in place that this is what is expected of the childminder, but it's also what is expected of the parents of the child?
Absolutely. And obviously it's only a problem. It only becomes a problem if it's a problem, if you know what I mean. We would advise that, every arrangement, that it doesn't have to be a complicated contract. It's literally, what do you both agree of each other? What do you both expect of each other? For instance, if you're sick, if you as a childminder are sick, what happens if the parent is sick and can't bring the child? And often it is just about sitting down and talking about these things before it becomes a problem. And we would find that relationships that have gone on for years can fall on something like this because they haven't actually discussed it, and they've both made assumptions, and assumptions can be disastrous in these situations, where a relationship is, it's like a second family, and suddenly there's an issue that you didn't see coming. So we would say have it all down in writing. We do have sample contracts. You can download them from our website. The one that's there at the moment is it's the sample contract appropriate for how to operate in COVID-19. Our website is www.childminding.ie. You can download it from there for free. But we would advise, whatever you do, have a contract. It doesn't have to be complicated, but sit down and have the conversation around all of those things. What fees are going to be charged, what happens around holidays, pick up, drop off times, what those arrangements are. Discuss all those things before you start the childminding arrangement, and it tends to lead to a much healthier relationship in the long run.
And you mentioned their fees. What is the criteria in relation to rates of pay for childminders in Ireland? Is there a set rate of pay, or is it minimum wage?
No, there isn't. The way that it works, Anne, is that, so I suppose if you take with any self-employed person, they set their own terms and conditions and equally their own fees. Childminders are that. They're self-employed and they set their own terms and fees. So what we could say from a guideline point of view, our annual survey generally for the last number of years has indicated that most childminders charge approximately €5 per child per hour. But that varies. So you may have a childminder that has less children and, maybe they do other, they may do drop off to extracurricular activities. So it's never straightforward, but that's like a guideline, we would say. And then some childminders will offer discount for siblings. They may or may not, depending if they have other spaces. So, it has to be sustainable for the childminder as well. So, but that would be kind of a general guideline that we would say based on our survey results.
And for the listeners who are out there and they have decided, right, this is something for me, I'd love to take up childminding. How do you go about going to become a childminder in Ireland? What is the procedure of going to become a childminder here in Ireland?
The first thing I would say is give us a call. Pick up the phone and ring us. Our phone number is 01 287 8466, and I know you have that number as well, Anne.
Yep.
But ring us because it's much easier to talk it through. I'm sure you'll have loads of questions. It is a complicated answer. It's not a straightforward answer, because to become a childminder, it depends on the numbers that you decide you want to mind. If you mind more than 4 preschool children or 7 or more after school children, you must register with TUSLA. currently, but this is all going to change once the Childminding Action Plan comes in. So the simplest answer to that is give us a call us on that number, or email us in to support@childminding.ie, and we can talk you through the questions.
And in relation to the Garda vetting, the childminder themselves, just to clarify, do they go and get Garda vetted themselves, or does the prospective parents send the...
No, the childminder must apply for their own Garda vetting, and they do that through Bernardo's. It's a vetting at bernardos.ie. It's through Bernardo's that you apply for Garda vetting for childminding.
And Mariead, would you like to give out the contact details and the email again for the listeners, should people request or join Childminding Ireland, or to get more information about childminding here in Ireland?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously we'd be delighted for people to join, but equally anybody that's childminding, there's no requirement on you to join. We're here to support you, whatever that need may be. So probably the easiest is to write down your questions and send them by email to support@childminding.ie. We can give you a call back. If you give us a phone number, we can call you at a time that suits you, or you can phone us on 0128 78 466. You can visit our website, www.childminding.ie. We're also on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and we're on Instagram.
Well, Mariead Hurley, Head of Childminding at Childminding Ireland, thank you very much for taking the call today here on Community Radio Kilkenny City. We were delighted to hear all about the organisation and the help and supports that you have to offer for childminders and for prospective family members who are going to request a childminder in Ireland. So thank you again, Mariead, for joining us here on Community Radio Kilkenny City.
Not at all. Thanks so much, Anne, for having me.